Day 3 of camp about to commence. The man in charge of it is sitting to our left, your two-time NFL Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, joining us. 2 practices in. How we doing, man?
We have work to do. That's the overwhelming feeling of coaches is you get out here and you're like, all right, we got to clean that up. We got to clean that up. We got to clean that up. And the fun part for us is making corrections and then trying not to make that same mistake again. So you want the coaches, the players to feel an urgency early in camp, and they certainly feel that. But we got a long way to go.
Yeah. Before we get into some of the news of the day, obviously, where are we in the ramp-up period? Fans coming today, what can people expect to see out there?
Yeah, so today's the first day that you can put on shells, or what some people call spiders. They're the soft things on you wear as shoulder. So not shoulder pads just yet. Those don't come till next week. So we've been in helmets the last 2 days. Finally the shells go on. I think it's a 2-hour limit on when you can be on the field. And what happens is the league starts that clock the second you start coaching your players. So we'll get started, I think, at about 1:40 today. Once that starts, you got to basically hit the horn and exit the field by 3:40. So they're very serious about the ramp up in terms of time and what you can do. So those are the parameters that we're under. But we'll get some really good work in today. We'll get some team drills, some 7-on-7 drills, obviously special teams. So we'll kind of hit a bunch of different areas, including the red zone today.
So is this like Brown's time? If it says practice starts at 2, it really starts at 1:40? That's how my high school coach used to do it.
Yeah, right? If you're on time, you're late. Right?
That's right.
So, but no, I guess practice starts at 2, but really we start 1:50 starts with our special teams jog through. And you'll start seeing guys trickling out here at 1:40, so that's when the coaches can start coaching.
Coach, the news this morning of Jordan Hicks' retirement, how does that hit you? Any sense that it was coming? Where's the organization with that?
Yeah, no sense that it was coming. Jordan's a guy that I have a ton of respect for, and I respect his decision. Obviously, he thought very long and hard about this, and he got in here and felt – obviously talked to, and I'll let Jordan speak for himself, but he was, I have so much respect for him, and I want what's best for him, obviously. Jordan's in the category of players as an offensive coach. There's guys that you coach against that are a pain in the butt to go against. Particularly there's these linebackers and safeties that call out the play before it's even coming. He's in that category. Now, having said that, being on the same side of him, you love him.
It's great.
He played really good football for us last year, and he's played great football in his career. Jim and Jordan have a long history, but I can't say enough about the player because he played really good for us, but the person off the field, just a rock star human being. I wish him a ton of success in whatever endeavors he has after this, but he's been really good for the game of football.
A lot of the chess match that happens is between that Mike linebacker and the play caller at times, or the quarterback, the checks to the checks, all of that. And now, we start off with Joe Burrow and Lamar and Jordan Love and Jared Goff, and we're likely going to have a guy in Carson Schlesinger out there who has not done that. So how do you we talk about getting the quarterbacks ramped up, ready to go. This is the quarterback of the defense in many ways. Get him ramped up and ready to go.
Yeah, I'd say Carson among a bunch of those guys. Nathan, I'd say that entire group of linebackers will be up to the challenge. You got to replace guys sometimes due to injury. Sometimes in this case, Jordan is retiring, which is totally a decision that we all respect. But those are shoes to fill, and we have candidates. Like you mentioned, Carson. He's a young player, but he's very mature. He's a thinking man in this game. So there's a lot that we feel like he can handle mentally, but he's a young player. So I can think of even yesterday, there's a couple mistakes that are made at that position, and then you with great players like young players, you want to be a great player is you make a mistake, you make a correction, you don't make it again.
Yep.
Coach, last we talked was at the end of mandatory minicamp, and we talked about this plan that you were going to put together with the quarterbacks and just acknowledging that there just isn't enough reps. There's never been enough reps as a coach. How's it gone so far, and will there be any adjustment, or is the plan going the way you thought it would be in terms of making sure everybody gets the reps enough?
Yeah, I think we're comfortable and confident in the plan through these first 4 days. Obviously, you have a plan moving forward, but you want to take in information. I want to see how these guys are performing in different areas, and that's not, just an individual or just in a team period or just in 7-on-7. It's really an all-encompassing evaluation. So I think the guys are doing a great job. That's one thing I would point out. With 4 quarterbacks that you're repping, these are 4 good guys. These are good people. These are guys that love football, that love to practice, that love to sit in there in the meeting room and really talk ball. So we are blessed. I'm so fortunate to sit in there and talk football with Joe, Kenny, Shador, Dylan, and these guys, and we're coaching them up off the reps. Deshaun in there, Tommy Reese, Bill Musgrave. This is a fun group that can really dive into all the things about football that we love. So that's what I appreciate about those guys. Now, having said that, like you said, Bo, you're trying to maximize all their reps. I'm sure every single one of those guys would want every single one of the reps. I get that. But how can you get better even if you're behind, standing behind and getting that mental rep? That's what we're trying to do. Even in walkthrough, I would say this. We're maximizing our time in walkthrough. So we're even doing a lot of two spots in walkthrough, both offensively and defensively, to make sure that we're utilizing the time available to us as best we can.
As the head coach, you get to be happy about anything that happens. It might be better for the defense one time, better for
I
the
can't
offense.
lose.
Can't lose.
I can't lose.
Kenny had the great crosser to Jerry Jeudy the first day yesterday. Delpit ended up getting him. Was when he went back and watched, that was just a case of the ball being too far inside.
Yeah, and that's football. I think playing this quarterback position, it's an occupational hazard that you're going to throw an interception.
Sure.
That's going to happen in football. Can you learn from it? That's the great thing. So with that play in particular, we're probably a hitch too late, and then we gotta, as quarterbacks, gotta know our miss. There's some incompletions that you're like, hey, of course you'd love to complete that, but I love your miss. I love that it was out in front and those type of things. So it's all learning. Thought it was a great play by Grant. I thought it was a good route by Blake. Great play by Grant. That's two sides making each other better just by competing at the highest level.
You talked about those reps and how they are hard to come by, and we had a red zone period yesterday with Shador where snap issues, defensive guys in the backfield, you weren't able to really get, probably from the quarterback perspective, what you wanted out of there. It's a good win for the defense, obviously, but how do you kind of try to balance that out going forward?
Yeah, we have to clean a lot of that up. You don't want reps that a ball's on the ground and a fumble exchange or whatever, a false start at offsides. That's hard for us to evaluate. So we will repeat those plays. We repeated those plays so we could get the reps. You don't want to just have those plays go into the ether. So you just repeat them and make sure that you don't miss them.
Coach, how do you balance? You have so many. You look at kind of where we think a lot of this. You have so many rookies who are going to have to be major contributors. Obviously, Mason and Carson and Dylan and who knows what else, but a lot of rookies in there. How do you balance early camp, giving them all that they can handle, but not giving them too much where they're drinking out of a fire hose and drowning? What's the balance?
It's a good question.
There?
It is a balance. There's things that we're doing offensively that. In a game plan, you'd really want to streamline and make it easy and, okay, hey, we're doing this and reminder of this. In camp, we want to see what they can handle. We want to challenge our guys. And we know that with challenging your guys, there may be some things that aren't perfect. That's okay. I'd rather that than just build so slowly. So the other piece of that, Bo, is we're trying to find out about our players from a skill set standpoint and what can and can't they do. And that's important to know. None of us are perfect, so there's certain things that a player does and sees really well, and there's certain things that they don't. So let's find out what those things are. With rookies, you have a tape on them. You have the off-season program. We haven't put pads on yet. So the evaluation process continues, not just in terms of who's going to make our 53, but also what are our guys good at? What will be our strengths as a football team? What are the things that we got to minimize maybe some of our weaknesses?
You talk about competition all the time, and I think take Miles out of it. We know what his role is going to be. That defensive end room, there seems to be a lot of talent in there. You guys bring in Tryon Shayinka, you bring in Okwara. Cam Thomas played well for us last year. Alex is back. Isaiah. Is that a room that you've kind of enjoyed watching early? Obviously, you want the pads on and see what it looks like, but it feels like there are constantly plays being made from that defensive end position.
Yeah, our backup defensive line is very deep.
Yeah.
I think you've seen that where our 1s, 2s, and 3s are playing really at a high level.
Pros.
They're pros. You got a guy like you mentioned, Julian and Joe, and these guys have played a lot of football. So it's a deep, deep group, which I appreciate that because we like to play multiple guys.
Coach, have a great practice.
Yes.
Everybody stay healthy. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.